Hey everybody, Lee from PcjunkieMods here. So today I thought I'd do a video. I haven't done one in a while, so here we go. This was supposed to be a PC upgrade. What happened was the system actually leaked. I'm not quite sure who originally built it. It wasn't me. As you can tell, it is in a TAO 2.0, so it couldn't have been that old of a system, and it actually had a Rampage 10 edition in it, a 6950X, but unfortunately when it was shipped to me, the radiators weren't completely capped off, so all the liquid that was in the radiators, as you can see from the glass, there's a bunch of spots all over the outside of the glass. The reason those spots are still there is because there's no point in me cleaning it twice. I did take this case completely apart and pretty much washed everything, washed all the screws, washed all the frame. The inside of the glass has already been cleaned, so rest assured. But I mean, it was completely soaked. Like, I put it up on the table and within a minute I had a puddle of blue liquid underneath it. So that should give you an idea. The video cards, they were shipped to me as well, but unfortunately the video cards, the terminal blocks were removed, which is not a very good idea unless you put something in there to block whatever liquid might still be in there. Even if it's just one tiny drop in there, I would still cap it off because of the moisture. So because they weren't capped off, the video cards were actually soaking wet too. So here we are now, all brand new hardware. We're gonna do some crazy liquid cooling. We got a pile of Bitspower fittings over here, and we got this new limited edition Titan V. And it's actually just Titan V, and we painted it because gold doesn't really go with the system here. And then we also painted, as you can see, the back plates for the Bitspower blocks. So it's all Bitspower parts, the fittings, the reservoir, the radiators, the blocks, you name it. So basic hardware rundown here. We have a Rampage board, an i7, oh I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying i7, i9-7980XE. We have a Samsung 2TB M.2 and then a Samsung 2TB SSD. We have two Titan XPs here and a Titan V. I know you're gonna be like, what the heck, Titan V, Titan XPs? It doesn't really work together, I don't think, but you know, the guy wanted the Titan V because it was the latest and greatest. I don't know what he's gonna use it for. Hopefully he'll put it to work. But obviously if you're a gamer, the Titan V is not the card to buy. We also have a Corsair AX1500i. We also have 128 gigs of Corsair Dominator Platinum memory. They also have the cable mod blackout LED bars on them, which they look pretty cool. It's just basically the Dominator LED bar powder coated or something, but they look really nice. And then you got a bunch of other Corsair stuff. We got the Commander Pro, you got the RGB LED expansion kit, and the LL series Corsair fans. So they're 6 120mm, and so they put a nice little LED light show on when you set them up correctly. We need to get going on this, so basically right now I need to figure out how I'm going to do the loop, which is kind of complicated when you're just doing fittings. And as my buddy Peter Brands told me, he never plans it out, he just goes. And if it doesn't look right, he starts over. So we're going to do that. We're just going to go with it. The kicker to this is we're not going to be using PETG, we're not going to be using acrylic, and we're definitely not going to be using copper. We're actually going to be using glass. So I want to actually attempt to bend a piece of glass just in the video, just to see if we can do that. But the glass is all going to be straight pieces. I actually picked up the glass cutter from Amazon. It's really cheap. It's like $8. Jay's 2 Cents put out a video where he did glass, but I don't think he showed you too much of working with glass. So I'm going to try to show you guys some of that. I will be using acrylic tubing to mock it up because it's a lot cheaper. You know, you can buy the acrylic or even PETG for a lot cheaper than the glass. So the last thing I want to do is waste a bunch of money cutting up a bunch of glass that, you know, wrong size or whatever. So I'll just waste my PETG or my acrylic instead. So let's jump right into it. For this build, there's not going to be a lot of like modding going on. I got a couple small things that I ended up having to do because the Rampage board actually has this big old deal here. It's got the built-in I/O, just like the Rampage 10 edition had it as well. But the Rampage 10 edition didn't come past the motherboard. As you can see, it actually is almost flat with this I/O bracket here. So I ended up having to notch out. As you can see, I cut this out in here, so that way this would actually fit in there. In other words, it didn't fit. Another simple mod that I will have to do, because this is a proprietary bracket for the power supply, so I will actually have to, the original power supply is a lot wider than your standard ATX power supply. So what I'm going to end up doing is, it goes down here in the bottom. I'm trying to remember how it went. I think it goes like this. Okay, so the original power supply bracket goes in like this. As you can see, it's like super wide. So what I'll end up doing is I'll use these two screws on your left side, these two, and then I'll actually probably drill in a third hole. That's what I ended up doing on the last TAL 2.0 that I did. So that way it gave me, I can't remember if I used these two or this side, I don't know, but we'll end up putting the power supply with three mounting points, and because the original one's a more proprietary setup, as you can see, it's just super wide. So in order to use a different power supply in this case and still use the existing bracket, then you would just drill a third hole. So not too big of a deal. So that's about all the modding we're going to be doing to the chassis. I mean, obviously we drilled some holes for the reservoir, but that's about it, you know. So I got to drill a hole in this. I already cut a hole in that and drilled holes for reservoirs. So we'll be doing some sleeving and water cooling. That's pretty much what's going to go on here. Alright, so for the most part, we've got all the mock-up done. So what I did is I used acrylic and 12mm acrylic to mock up all the tubes. So that way, you know, because I made a bunch of errors here, so at least that wasn't glass, which is more expensive. So now what we're going to do, the next step would to actually be transfer these into cutting the glass. This one's obviously a little droopy, so we've decided we're going to take and swap it out for a fixed 90 instead of a rotary 90 in there. So that should get rid of this droop. And then plus, once I put all the compressions on here and tighten them down, it should stiffen up a lot of this stuff. But as you can see, so for the most part, this one's not in here. I did make it. It actually goes like this from the top up here, but it has the same size tube here and the same size tube here. So instead of making two out of two templates, I just made one for each set. And the same thing will be for the SLI bridge. There'll be two, obviously. So that'll do that, and then there's a tube that comes out of the bottom here, and then we still have to put the Titan V in there. So yeah, so for the most part, the mock-up is done, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into the glass. Probably tomorrow morning, because it's getting late.